I don't know about you, but here it is May, and even with all the shit I've already had to deal with since January...
Quite a unit. We nicknamed him Ramrod, a peacekeeping vehicle shaped like a huge cowboy.
2020 still feels like a hangover that won't go away. So, I'm getting through this year the way I got through the last one, by watching cartoons. Some hair of the dog. You know what I find fascinating? I don't even have to specify why 2020 was a bad year. It's just understood. Nobody was affected by everything, but everybody was affected by something. Everywhere you go, someone's trying to make you sick, or make you hate yourself, or is insisting on something so batshit random and with such fervor that it makes you question your grip on reality. So, instead of giving in to the hideous maw of existential soul-buggering despair, I watched cartoons. I watched a lot of cartoons, actually, but these were my favorites. And one other thing, since these are so recent, if I'm talking spoilers, you'll see the word above me. So if you see that up there, you can skip to the next chapter, or scrub ahead, or just mute it and stare at my face if that's your thing. Let's try it. Phantasm is Andrea Beaumont. You got it. So, let's start with the show that was a big revelation for me, Kipo and the Age of Wonderbeasts. I had heard good things about this show, but I knew literally nothing about it. I mean, I knew there were Wonderbeasts and that Kipo was in the age of them. Anyway, Kipo comes from DreamWorks Animation, and is created by Radford Seacrest, based pretty closely on his own webcomic. Kipo premiered on Netflix in January, and seasons 2 and 3 dropped in June and October. And 30 episodes in a year seems like a lot for a show that was just announced in June 2019, but the proof is in the execution. This show is everything I was talking about back in my first video. It's beautiful to look at. So many great backgrounds you could just sit and groove on. The character designs are distinctive and stylized, but even the cartooniest ones just feel real and alive. The show uses music so well, both soundtrack and, fancy word here, diegetic.
We may not have sunshine or starlight or weather.
And the way they lead into the title in every episode. Not gonna lie, they had me at the dubstep bees. The show lives in that sweet spot for me, where it's unafraid to go big and be a cartoon, but then will make you feel things you didn't think a cartoon could make you feel. I've talked about how cartoons shouldn't be forced to avoid tough emotional subjects like death, not to trivialize it or revel in it, but to not deny it. Not every pilot parachutes out. For a kids' show, even one set after the apocalypse, the show didn't shy away from life and death stakes. And here's where I'm going to turn on the spoiler sign. Death came in different forms on this show, but it always had an impact. From what Scarlemagne did to the Mod Frogs, to the mutes that were cured, which is one of those ideas that creeps me out even more than straight-up death. Raise your axes. Yum-Yum owns you all. But the death that resonates most with the real world is pretty mundane in comparison.
What if everything we've been taught is wrong? I'm gonna show people what mutes are really like. This will change everything.
I can't let you do that.
Just think of everything that could have been avoided if someone was willing to change their mind. So between that and the whole, post-apocalypse, it could have gotten a little depressing, if not for Kipo herself. As a hero, her superpower wasn't just that she could turn into a giant pink jaguar, but let's be honest, that was badass. Thing is, before performing an animality, she would always start with a friendship maneuver. Kipo's instinct, learned from her father, is kindness and empathy first. According to Bill Wolkoff, the producer,
The show deals with someone who finds a world that is unrecognizable and scary in season 1, and she's able to see the wonder in it and embrace that change. Dr. Amelia just seemed perfectly poised to occupy the opposite side of that spectrum as somebody who wanted to fight against change at all costs.
Everybody on that show is affected by the past in various ways. What sets them apart is their ability to see those harmful patterns and to choose to break them. Kipo always looked for a way forward for everybody. That takes strength. However, I'll say this for Dr. Amelia. That dress. So, from one show about a plucky preteen thrust into a fantastical world where she succeeds thanks to humor and empathy, to another, The Owl House. Couple of major differences, though. For one, Luce wants to stay in the Boiling Isles, and straight up demands to be taught witchcraft.
I want to stay and become a witch, like you, and Azora.
For another, the aesthetic is less British wand-waving and more Hieronymus Bosch, which is a surprising choice from Disney. It makes me think of when they hired Gerald Scarfe, Pink Floyd The Wall Gerald Scarfe, to do the character designs for Hercules.
I throw everything I've got at him.
The whole thing hits that Gravity Falls itch, especially the Weirdmageddon episodes. Which makes sense since Dana Terrace, the creator, was a storyboard artist on Gravity Falls. She came up with the Owl House while she was working as a director on DuckTales, another show that seemed positioned as a successor to Gravity Falls.
Soon, Mr. Ducky, we shall drink the fear of those who mocked us!
Oh yeah, and Alex Hirsch plays King. But the breakout character for me is Ida Clawthorne.
Oops, that happens sometimes.
Ida would be the obvious Grunkle Stan parallel, the slightly disreputable but good-hearted mentor figure. But despite being the most flamboyant wanted fugitive in the Boiling Isles, it doesn't take much to get through to that damaged heart, and that's when we see the badass witch come out. Dana Terrace says,
Ida is very much based off my Nana, my aunt, and my mom, the women who raised me.
Ida is played by Wendy Malick, who's someone who seems equally at home in live action and animation.
We were never caught because we're too slippery.
She was great as Beatrice on BoJack Horseman, a cartoon for and about cynical adults.
You wanted this.
Are you punishing me for smoking or for stealing?
I'm punishing you for being alive.
Ida is almost in the same vein. She's got that great kind of oldie-time zing, but warmer, 'cause Disney. You need someone like Wendy Malick to pull off that swagger.
I'm Ida, the Owl Lady, the most powerful witch on the Boiling Isles.
What I also find interesting is how the character designs are pretty much what's come to be known as the CalArts style. That's the thing right now. But here, the simple cartooniness of the characters is in contrast to the body horror of the setting. I mean, it's a demon realm located inside the rotting corpse of a dead titan. How metal is that? But as someone who likes to see the animation process, it's cool to compare the character designs by Ricky Komeda to the original sketches by Dana Terrace. She showed off some early production art in a live stream last September. She said,
So when I was first developing the show, I wasn't making like these crazy finished character designs because I just wanted to like figure out the characters first.
What's interesting, in some of these, Luce seems to look a little older. But I'd attribute that to the fact that Luce is partly inspired by Luce Batista, who is a storyboard artist on the show, and who was Dana Terrace's roommate at the School of Visual Arts. So most likely, for these sketches, which again were never meant to be official, she just drew Luce Batista as she knew her, in her early 20s. I haven't said much about the overall story yet since that's still in progress, but I'm intrigued enough to stick around. Without having to turn on the spoiler sign, Bellos, Lilith, Amity, the hell was this thing, and more of Willow, style icon. Plenty to explore in Season 2 when that happens, but we know it is happening. The show got the second season order before the first one premiered. Finally, the event of the year for me was the end of Steven Universe Future, and, it appears, the end of Steven Universe. It wouldn't be Steven Universe without some kind of harrowing emotional journey. And before I turn on the spoiler sign, here's an actual picture of my eyes after watching I Am My Monster. So, harrowing emotional journeys. That's what the show's always been about. Rebecca Sugar has been open about mental health as one of the major themes of the show.
Come on, you're hiding something!
Get out of my head, Steven!
I can't be the only one who Googled mindfulness after Here Comes a Thought.
I'm losing sight.
So it makes sense that after Steven Universe was about Steven helping people heal through empathy and kindness, Steven Universe Future dealt a lot with how taking on so many other people's trauma at such a young age affected Steven as a young adult. The final run of episodes, I thought, really captured the hopelessness that can come at that age, of being forced to confront emotions you don't have the life experience to process. So I thought it was perfect that the final victory in the series came from an honest emotional inventory and a monster group hug.
I don't have your powers, but
So the question is the end of Steven Universe Future the end of Steven Universe? The final episode of Steven Universe Future, titled The Future, dealt with the future, and we left Steven's story at a good place. As for what's after the future, here's what Rebecca Sugar had to say.
I'm certainly interested in spending more time in this world with these characters. But the thing about Steven Universe, it's about Steven Universe, and I want to give him the time to heal. I want to give that to my team as well. So I'm not really sure what's going to happen in the future. I have a few ideas, but I'm going to take a little time to reevaluate everything before I jump into them.
And fair enough. I do have extensive notes on what I'd still like to see explored, but that's just me. Here's to Rebecca Sugar and the Crooniverse on 6 seasons and a movie. So there are some common themes you may have noticed through all this. Empathy, kindness, plucky preteen, yada yada yada. But there's something else that occurred to me that may not be my straight white male place to talk about, but stood out as a real positive against the general fleh of the year. I started watching Steven Universe during the 2nd season, and as I was catching up, I read a lot about the character of Stevani and how the show was able to present a fully non-binary character with they-them pronouns through science fiction. Stevani was non-binary because they were literally a male and female in one body. That's kind of a tradition in TV. For way too long, characters couldn't be explicitly LGBTQ. Hell, there were a lot of things you couldn't show on TV without some kind of justification. Or by coding, where you'd have characters who are described as quirky or unique, and where those quirks may resonate with some young viewers who are noticing some quirks in themselves. And again, as a straight white guy, I know that for most of you this is not news. At the time, 2014, 2015, the existence of Stevani was a big step forward, but Rebecca Sugar and other young creators kept pushing for that representation, that inclusion, that acceptance. And more, there were victories. And after 2020, it feels like that door is finally, firmly open. On Steven Universe Future, we met Sadie's new partner, Shep. 5 years after getting a non-binary character because sci-fi, Shep just is non-binary, and played by India Moore, an NB actor. On the Owl House, our whole understanding of Amity's character changed when we understood her feelings for Luce. And once again, Dana Terrace had to push to be able to include bi characters. Come on, Disney. And another moment that actually came in January, although I didn't see it till much later.
I think I like you.
Oh.
You don't feel the same.
Oh, no, I like you too. Really, really like you. You're all kinds of awesome, but you should know something.
You like me as a friend?
Yes, because I'm gay.
There it is. No coding, no subtext. It's only an issue in that specific situation. According to Rad Seacrest,
when we sold the show to DreamWorks and told them that there was a gay character, Peter Gal, the head of development at the time, said to us, "Your character has to say the words, 'I'm gay,' very explicitly," which I thought was really cool.
And come on, Benson and Troy are the most wholesome young romance of the year. This is the kind of energy I want to see more of in 2021. This year's not going to just magically be better. Everything that kept trying to shatter our gems is still there. It's going to keep telling us that we're wrong, defective, off color, trying to wear us down. I want to not only look for and enjoy what is positive and uplifting, I want to share it. I want to find a way forward for everyone. Happy New Year. Scroll down and say something. Soon, Mr. Ducky, we shall drink the fear of those who mocked us.